Hello, and welcome back to another merchandise review from White Album 2. Now, today's review is particularly special because this is an official product released by Aquaplus, and it is huge. It is so long and so heavy, but it's really exciting. The type of content in this is something that I really enjoy. I hope you enjoy also. Let's go ahead and take a look at this more rare piece of merchandise. So, this is White Album 2 Production Note. Now, you can tell the cover is beautiful. You can tell this is an official product. It looks just like the anime, and that is because this production note contains all different kinds of references which the animators used when creating the White Album 2 anime. And so it's really, really neat to kind of take a look at this. And I am not exaggerating. This book is huge. This is so heavy. It took me a minute to figure out how I'm even going to show the book properly in the review because I don't even think I could hold this for more than a minute. It's super well done. If you kind of tell when I shine the light over the book, you can see little snowflakes. This is a gorgeous, really cool addition to any White Album 2 collection. Highly, highly recommend it if you can get your hands on it. It's a little bit pricey, but it is well worth it. This is a really, really cool piece of merch. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look, keeping in mind that this is the production note for the anime and not the game. The game does have its own little references there. So, this is the White Album 2 production note. And we'll take a look at it face up just for the beginning part. So it has the appendix. It kind of shows what's going to happen. There's different sections for the second chapter, for Haruki, the third chapter, Toma. Fourth chapter is the university. And then the fifth chapter is going to be others. And then we have just a short sketch of Setsuna Ogiso here. So for most of this book, it actually opens this way. So we'll go ahead and review it like this. So we have the initial sketch for Setsuna here. You can kind of see it's very lightly colored. This is usually done for beginning references for anime or games. And then once it's decided upon, they go ahead and color it, such as in this example. So full color, beautiful reference. And this is just so that every animator on the team remains consistent. They give out these references just so that people's personal style don't get in the way. Even though there may be 50 people working on animating an anime, you want the art to look the same between all of the artists. So these are those kind of references just to make sure that the art is consistent. And I love that. This is such a cool thing to kind of see how it went from this to the anime. It's amazing. It is incredible. And of course, we have, this book is not safe for work. There's no nude images in it, but of course, being White Album, it's a little bit pervy at times. But it's just really cool, and you get to kind of zoom in on all of these details that you wouldn't have otherwise known, like the author's notes. Who knew that they specified the lace in the back? Who knew that they specified like which direction the shoe is, how tall the heel is, what the design on the necklace is? It's just neat to see what details they thought were important to include. And so we won't review every page because there's about 200 something. But it's just so neat. This is such a cool reference, character by character. If you have a favorite character, it's kind of cool to see them in this. It also includes the different buildings, which is extremely important when doing anime because you have to go more in depth. You know, is the character going to walk from the kitchen to the living room? Is the bathroom connected to the kitchen? You have to remain consistent. And so we get to see kind of all of these little side things. Very useful if you're a doujinshi writer, if you want to write fiction or novels. These are a great, great reference for anyone like that. So very cool. Or if you just think it's interesting and want to look. I mean, even the little board in Setsuna's room, look at the details in this. It's just so cool. So much extra detail in this book. So if you are a mega White Album 2 fan, 1000% recommended. We also have, this is kind of like the beginning sketches, some of the very, very rough sketches early on in the game, which are kind of neat to look at because you see, what they evolved into. Just from these tiny little, almost sticky note-like sketches, they became something incredible. And I love that. I think that's really neat. So moving on from Setsuna, I do want to check a little bit about all of the characters. So let's take a look at Kitahara Haruki. Now, he is much more plain, as most anime protagonists are, and yet we still do need to remain consistent. Haruki's big thing is going to be his emotions and his expressions, because he's kind of, I don't want to say bland, but he tries his best to mask his negative emotions. And he's not always true to himself. He kind of always puts on this brave face. And so it's neat to kind of see how they presented that to the animators. That is very important. You can't have Haruki like laughing and smiling crazily for no reason. So it is interesting to see. And all of his little outfits, they're so cute. Side view, back view, very important to have all of it. The onsen outfit, I love the onsen outfits. If you go to a cheap onsen in Japan, you won't get that. But if you go to the nicer onsens, they let you rent or use those, especially if you stay overnight, and they're so comfortable. So even down to the little details, Haruki's silly little flip phone, his little notebook, which took a very important role in the game and the anime, of course, his guitar. And now things like this are really cool. So they actually had the study of what things are supposed to look like coming from a real guitar into the prototype, reference guitar, and then taking the reference, the 3D reference, and kind of making it 2D. So really neat to kind of see the process behind all that. And these details are so ingrained because they know these items are going to be in multiple scenes in the anime, so they are extremely important to get correct. Come to more detail on the wider shots, so seeing the scenery from afar, which again in anime is very important. And then a few more little sketch scenes. Kazusa when she's sick. Oh, I love it so much. So adorable. She's so cute. So then we come to the Tomakazusa Pages. So we're not even halfway through this book, if you notice. This book is really, really big and really awesome. So like I said, definitely worth it for any true fan of White Album 2. So we have Kazusa. We have Kazusa's expressions, as you notice, are a little less varied than the other characters. She's angry, she's sad, sometimes a little bit happy, but you can't just draw one character with every emotion. You have to remember each character has their own emotional wheel. So you need to be aware. You need to have these references different for each character. So we move on. We see some of her outfit references. And I do love just checking out the notes, which are on these. The behind the scenes of the artist's thoughts as they were making the references. The concert outfit, the extremely important concert outfit, her winter outfits. There's just so many references for every part of the whole anime, really. They did not hold back when making this production notebook. They really included as much as they could, really. Even throwing in a bunch of extras. Oh, I love the casual outfit. It's so cute. It's so pretty. So that's the gist of Toma. I do want to make sure we cover everything. So here's the bass. Here's the keyboard. And they need to do a lot of research on this too. In the White Album 2 anime, the instruments were so important to the storyline. They couldn't just, fudge it and, okay, well, this kind of looks like a keyboard. No, they actually studied, they did Yamaha. Yamaha was the inspiration for Toma's keyboard there. And so they did do the study and they did draw it based on that. Of course, in the anime, I believe it was Yahaha on the piano itself, on the keyboard itself. But we know that it's actually Yamaha. So some of the different scenery here, we get to the scenery areas. Again, extremely important references. It's somebody's job to make all these scenes, you know? Someone's going to be a scenery expert. Somebody might be a character expert. It takes a lot more proficiencies than just one when writing something like this. We move kind of in to some of the others. So we have Kazusa's mother, Yoko. Some of the color images of her. She's so sharp. Her whole character, her hair, her shoulder blades, her nose, her chin. And they definitely do that on purpose. She just exudes confidence. They designed her very well. Of course, that's the game designer, not the anime designer, but kudos. Very, very good character design for her. As far as to give references to her pocketbook, this book is just so neat. It would take hours to really, really get in detail to all of these different pages. It's just so cool. Going through every little detail. It's really neat. So cool. Takeya. Takeya is adorable. I feel like Takeya has the most varied emotions out of all the characters. A true player. So definitely interesting. Now, we'll go ahead and move on quickly through. So these are just some of the side objects from the anime, more of the mapping, and this is just technical planning. Which classroom is which? How far apart are they? And that's just helpful for, if a scene they required to go to the class next door. Well, which class is that? They need those references to kind of keep everything consistent. So a lot more of the room references here, a lot more of the room references. The outdoor references, these are beautiful. These are very well done. They did not skimp out when planning this anime for sure. They knew it was going to be big. They knew White Album 2 had such a fandom before they even started, so they knew it had to be big. It's not one of those novels where they decided to take a chance on it and make it an anime. They already knew people were in love with it. So that's kind of the cool thing about White Album 2's anime, is that they had the budget, they had the expertise, and they went for it. They really did. We have some beautiful full color references. Moving on to some of the scenes here. Of course, the train stations. This station sign in particular is all over Japan. They all look exactly like this. And then we just move on to some more additional scenes here. So that's about the end of the book. It's so heavy. I cannot tell you how heavy this book is. We will take a look at just the last indexes. So if you were looking for a particular scene, they're all kind of laid out here, all of these references. Of course, they're in Japanese, but it's a useful reference if, say, you were doing a doujin project. You could say, oh, well, what does Setsuna's bedroom look like? You could find it pretty simply using that. So this was actually released in 2013, December 29th. Being December 29th through the 31st, that is a comic convention, the biggest comic convention in Japan. It's called Comiket. So this was released as part of a Comiket that year. Had the special thanks, the publisher's website here. This was printed in Japan for Project WA2. And then we just have the final page, White Album 2 production note. So this is a whopper of a book, but so cool. I highly recommend checking it out because the prices on this are only going to continue to rise because it is one of the coolest pieces of memorabilia from the anime. Absolutely a wonderful collector's piece. So, thank you so much for joining me on this merchandise review today, and I will continue to do White Album 2 merchandise reviews in the future. So, I hope to see you then, and until then, I hope you take care. See you!